a sleep podcast where you'll hear cherished classics served up with laid-back Southern charm. I'm your host, Jake Phillips, and I'm looking forward to spending the next few minutes together. Now sit back and relax. Oh, hey there. It's been a while since I've posted one of these, and please accept my apologies. Hopefully the next one won't be so long from now. So in this episode, we're going to go sit outside of a little village at night and read Edgar Allen Poe. Now his stories are pretty creepy. His poetry, with some exceptions, not so much. His poetry is a little different. And I like it. I like his creepy stories. I like his lovely poems. So let's read some of these poems. So sit back, relax. If you're in the bed, trying to get some rest, hopefully you'll be out like a light before I'm even done with this. Here we go. Edgar Allan Poe. The Conqueror Worm. Lo, 'tis a gala night within the lonesome latter years. An angel throng, bewinged, bedight in veils and drowned in tears, sit in a theater to see a play of hopes and fears, while the orchestra breathes fitfully the music of the spheres. Mimes in the form of God on high mutter and mumble low, and hither and thither fly, mere puppets they who come and go at bidding of vast formless things that shift the scenery to and fro, flapping from out their condor wings invisible woe. That motley drama, oh, be sure it shall not be forgot, with its phantom chased forevermore by a crowd that sees it not, through a circle that ever returneth into the self-same pot, and much of madness and more of sin and horror the soul of the plot. But see, amid the mimic rout, a crawling shape intrude, a blood-red thing that writhes from out the scenic solitude. It writhes, with mortal pangs the mimes become its food, and seraphs sob at vermin fangs in human gore imbued. Out are the lights, out all, and over each quivering form the curtain, a funeral pall, comes down with the rush of a storm, while the angels, all pallid and wan, uprising, unveiling, affirm that the play is the tragedy, man, and its hero, the conqueror worm. Annabel Lee. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted, her and me. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. A dream. In visions of the dark night, I have dreamed of joy departed, but a wakened dream of life and light hath left me broken-hearted. Ah, what is not a dream by day to him whose eyes are cast on things around him with a ray turned back upon the past? That holy dream, while all the world were chiding, hath cheered me as a lovely beam, a lonely spirit guiding. What through that light, through storm and light, so trembled from afar? What could there be more purely bright in truth's day star? For Annie. Thank heaven, the crisis, the danger is past, and the lingering illness is over at last, and the fever called living is conquered at last. Sadly, I know I am shorn of my strength, and no muscle I move as I lie at full length. But no matter, I feel I am better at length. And I rest so composedly now in my bed that any beholder might fancy me dead, might start at beholding me, thinking me dead. The moaning and groaning, the sighing and sobbing are quieted now, with that horrible throbbing at heart. Ah, that horrible, horrible throbbing. The sickness, the nausea, the pitiless pain have ceased with the fever that maddened my brain, with the fever called living that burned in my brain. And oh, of all tortures, that torture the worst has abated, the terrible torture of thirst, for the naphthaline river of passion accursed. I have drank of a water that quenches all thirst, of a water that flows with a lullaby sound from a spring but a very few feet underground, from a cavern not very far down underground. And ah, let it never be foolishly said that my room, it is gloomy and narrow, my bed, for man never slept in a different bed, and to sleep you must slumber in just such a bed. My tantalized spirit here blandly reposes, forgetting or never regretting its roses, its old agitations of myrtles and roses. For now, while so quietly lying, it fancies a holier odor about it of pansies, a rosemary odor, commingled with pansies, with rue and the beautiful Puritan pansies. And so it lies happily, bathing in many a dream of the truth and the beauty of Annie, drowned in a bath of the tresses of Annie. She tenderly kissed me, she fondly caressed, and then I fell gently to sleep on her breast, deeply to sleep from the heaven of her breast. When the light was extinguished, she covered me warm, And she prayed to the angels to keep me from harm, to the queen of the angels to shield me from harm. And I lie so composedly now in my bed, knowing her love that you fancy me dead, and I rest so contentedly now in my bed, with her love at my breast, that you fancy me dead, that you shudder to look at me, thinking me dead. But my heart, it is brighter than all of the many stars in the sky, for it sparkles with Annie. It glows with the light of the love of my Annie, with the thought of the light of the eyes of my Annie. Alone. From childhood's hour, I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source, I have not taken my sorrow. I could not awaken my sorrow to joy at the same tone. And all I loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill the mystery which binds me still, from the torrent or the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm and the cloud that took the form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. El Dorado. Gaily bedight, a gallant knight, in sunshine and in shadow, had journeyed long, singing a song, in search of El Dorado. But he grew old, this knight so bold, and o'er his heart a shadow fell as he found no spot of ground that looked like El Dorado. And as his strength failed him at length, he met a pilgrim shadow. Shadow, he said, where can it be, this land of El Dorado? Over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow. Ride, boldly ride, the shade replied, if you seek for El Dorado. The Sleeper. At midnight in the month of June, I stand beneath the mystic moon. An opiate vapor, dewy, dim, exhales from out her golden rim, and softly dripping, drop by drop, upon the quiet mountain top, steals drowsily and musically into the universal valley. The rosemary nods upon the grave, the lily lolls upon the wave, wrapping the fog about its breast. The ruin moulders into rest, looking like Lethe. See, the lake, a conscious slumber, seems to take, and would not for the world awake. All beauty sleeps, and lo, where lies Irene with her destinies. O lady bright, can it be right, this window open to the night? The wanton airs from the treetop, laughingly through the lattice drop. The bodiless airs, a wizard rout, flit through thy chamber in and out, and wave the curtain canopy so fitfully, so fearfully, above the closed and fringed lid, neath which thy slumbering soul lies hid, that o'er the floor and down the wall, like ghosts, the shadows rise and fall. O lady dear, hast thou no fear? Why and what art thou dreaming here? Sure thou art come o'er far-off seas, a wonder to these garden trees. Strange is thy pallor, strange thy dress, strange above all thy length of tress, and this all solemn silentness. motionless. The lady sleeps. Oh, may her sleep, which is enduring, so be deep. Heaven have her in its sacred keep. This chamber changed for one more holy, this bed for one more melancholy. I pray to God that she may lie forever with unopened eye, while the pale sheeted ghosts go by. My love, she sleeps. Oh, may her sleep, as it is lasting, so be deep. Soft may the worms about her creep. Far in the forest, dim and gold, for her may some tall vault unfold, some vault that oft hath flung its black and winged panels fluttering back, triumphant o'er the crested palls of her grand family funerals. Some sepulchre remote, alone, against whose portals she hath thrown in childhood many an idle stone, some tomb from out whose sounding door she ne'er shall force an echo more. Thrilling to think, poor child of sin, it was the dead who groaned within. To Helen. Helen, thy beauty is to me like those Nicean barks of yore, that gently o'er a perfumed sea the weary, way-worn wanderer bore to his own native shore. On desperate seas long wont to roam, thy hyacinth hair, thy classic face, thy naiad airs have brought me home to the glory that was Greece and the grandeur that was Rome. Lo, in yon brilliant window niche, how statue-like I see thee stand, the agate lamp within thy hand. Ah, Psyche, from the regions which are Holy Land. A dream within a dream. Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow, you are not wrong, who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet if hope has flown away in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, while I weep. O God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? To one in paradise. Thou wast that all to me, love, for which my soul did pine. A green isle in the sea, love, a fountain and a shrine, all wreathed with fairy fruits and flowers, and all the flowers were mine. Ah, dream too bright to last. Ah, starry hope, that didst arise but to be overcast. A voice from out the future cries, on, on, but o'er the past dim gulf, my spirit hovering lies mute, motionless, aghast. For alas, alas, with me the light of life is o'er. No more, no more, no more. Such language holds the solemn sea to the sands upon the shore. Shall bloom the thunder-blasted tree, or the stricken eagle soar. And all my days are are trances, and all my nightly dreams are where thy grey eye glances, and where thy footstep gleams, in what ethereal dances, by what eternal streams. Hey, glad you dropped by. In this episode, we're going to read some Emily Dickinson. Now, she didn't put titles to all of her poems, so for some of these, we'll just wade right in. So sit back and relax, and let's hear what Emily has to say. Success. Success is counted sweetest by those who ne'er succeed. To comprehend a nectar requires sorest need. Not one of all the purple host who took the flag today can tell the definition so clear of victory as he defeated, dying, on whose forbidden ear the distant strains of triumph break, agonized and clear. Our share of night to bear. Our share of night to bear, our share of morning, our blank in bliss to fill, our blank in scorning. Here a star, and there a star. Some lose their way. Here a mist, and there a mist. Afterwards, day. If I can stop one heart from breaking. If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. Almost. Within my reach, I could have touched. I might have chanced that way. Soft sauntered through the village, sauntered as soft away. So unsuspected violets within the fields lie low, too late for striving fingers that passed an hour ago. The heart asks pleasure first. The heart asks pleasure first, and then excuse from pain. And then those little anodynes that deaden suffering. And then to go to sleep. And then, if it should be the will of its inquisitor, the liberty to die. In a library, a precious, mouldering pleasure 'tis to meet an antique book in just the dress his century wore. A privilege, I think. His venerable hand to take, and warming in our own, a passage back or two to make to times when he was young. His quaint opinions to inspect, his knowledge to unfold on what concerns our mutual mind, the literature of old. What interested scholars most, what competitions ran, when Plato was a certainty and Sophocles a man, when Sappho was a living girl and Beatrice wore the gown that Dante deified, facts. Centuries before, he traverses familiar, as one should come to town and tell you all your dreams were true. He lived where dreams were sown. His presence is enchantment. You beg him not to go. Old volumes shake their vellum heads and tantalize just so. Much madness is divinest sense. Much madness is divinest sense to a discerning eye. Much sense the starkest madness, 'tis the majority. In this, as all prevails, assent, and you're sane. Demur, you're straightway dangerous, and handled with a chain. I ask no other thing. I ask no other thing, no other was denied. I offered being for it, the mighty merchant smiled. Brazil? He twirled a button without a glance my way. But madam, there is nothing else that we can show today. Exclusion. The soul selects her own society, then shuts the door. On her divine majority, obtrude no more. Unmoved, she notes the chariots pausing at her low gate. Unmoved, an emperor is kneeling upon her mat. I've known her from an ample nation. Choose one, then close the valves of her attention like stone. The secret. Some things that fly there be, birds, ours, the bumblebee. Of these, no elegy. Some things that stay there be, grief, hills, eternity, nor this behoveth me. There are that resting rise. Can I expound the skies? How still the riddle lies. To fight aloud is very brave. To fight aloud is very brave. But gallanter I know, who charge within the bosom the cavalry of woe, who win and nations do not see, who fall and none observe, whose dying eyes no country regards with patriot love. We trust in plumed procession, for such the angels go, rank after rank, with even feet, in uniforms of snow. Dawn. When night is almost done and sunrise grows so near that we can touch the spaces, it's time to smooth the hair and get the dimples ready and wonder we could care for that old faded midnight that frightened but an hour. The mystery of pain. Pain has an element of blank. It cannot recollect when it began, or if there were a day when it was not. It has no future but itself. Its infinite realms contain its past, enlightened to perceive new periods of pain. A book. He ate and drank the precious words. His spirit grew robust. He knew no more that he was poor, nor that his frame was dust. He danced along the dingy days, and this bequest of wings was but a book. What liberty a loosened spirit brings. I had no time to hate. I had no time to hate because the grave would hinder me, and life was not so ample I could finish enmity. Nor had I time to love, but since some industry must be, the little toil of love, I thought, was large enough for me. Unreturning. 'Twas such a little boat that toddled down the bay. 'Twas such a gallant sea that beckoned it away. 'Twas such a greedy wave that licked it from the coast. Nor ever guessed the stately sails, my little craft was lost. Whether my bark went down at sea. Whether my bark went down at sea, whether she met with gales, whether to isles enchanted she bent her docile sails, by what mystic mooring she's held today, this is the errand of the eye out upon the bay. Belshazzar had a letter. Belshazzar had a letter. He never had but one. Belshazzar's correspondent concluded and begun. In that one immortal copy, the conscience of us all can read without its glasses on Revelation's wall. The brain within its groove. The brain within its groove runs evenly and true, but let a splinter swerve, 'twere easier for you to put the water back when floods have slit the hills and scooped a turnpike for themselves and blotted out the mills. Elysium is as far as to the very nearest room, if in that room a friend await felicity or doom. What fortitude the soul contains that it can so endure the accent of a coming foot, the opening of a door. Surrender. Doubt me, my dim companion. Why, God would be content with but a fraction of the love poured thee without a stint. The whole of me forever. What more the woman can? Say quick that I may dower thee with last delight I own. It cannot be my spirit, for that was thine before. I seeded all of dust I knew. What opulence the more had I, a humble maiden, whose farthest degree was that she might some distant heaven dwell timidly with thee. If you were coming in the fall, if you were coming in the fall, I'd brush the summer by with half a smile and half a spurn, as housewives do a fly. If I could see you in a year, I'd wind the months in balls, and put them each in separate drawers until their time befalls. If only centuries delayed, I'd count them on my hand, subtracting till my fingers dropped into Van Diemen's land. If certain, when this life was out, that yours and mine should be, I'd toss it yonder like a rind and taste eternity. But now, all ignorant of the length of time's uncertain wing, it goads me like the goblin bee that will not state its sting. With a flower. I hide myself within my flower, that wearing upon your breast, you unsuspecting wear me too. and angels know the rest. I hide myself within my flower, that fading from your vase, you unsuspecting feel for me almost a loneliness. The outlet. My river runs to thee. Blue sea wilt welcome me. My river waits reply. O sea, look graciously. I'll fetch thee brooks from spotted nooks. Say, sea, take me. In vain. I cannot live with you. It would be life. And life is over there behind the shelf. The sexton keeps the key too, putting up our life, his porcelain like a cup, discarded of the housewife, quaint or broken. The newer severs pleases, old ones crack. I could not die with you, for one must wait to shut the other's gaze down. You could not. And could I stand by and see you freeze without my right of frost, death's privilege? Nor could I rise with you because your face would put out Jesus, that new grace, glow plain and foreign on my homesick eye, except that you, than he, shone closer by. They'd judge us. How? For you served heaven, you know, or sought to. I could not, because you saturated sight, and I had no more eyes for sordid excellence as paradise. And were you lost, I would be, though my name rang loudest on the heavenly fame. And were I saved, and I condemned to be where you were not, that self were hell to me. So we must keep apart, you there, I here, with just the door ajar that oceans are, and prayer, and that pale sustenance, despair. New feet within my garden go. New feet within my garden go. New fingers stir the sod. A troubadour upon the elm betrays the solitude. New children play upon the green. New weary sleep below, and still the pensive spring returns, and still the punctual snow. Mayflower. Pink, small, and punctual. Aromatic, low. Covert in April, candid in May. Dear to the moss, known by the knoll, next to the robin in every human soul. Bold little beauty, bedecked with thee, nature forswears antiquity. The pedigree of honey. The pedigree of honey does not concern the bee. A clover, any time, to him is aristocracy. The bee is not afraid of me. The bee is not afraid of me. I know the butterfly. The pretty people in the woods receive me cordially. The brooks laugh louder when I come. The breezes madder play. Wherefore mine eyes thy silver mists? Wherefore, O summer's day? Hey there. Welcome to Ode to a Mockingbird, where we read classic literature to go to sleep to. I'm Jake. On this episode, we'll be reading Walt Whitman from Leaves of Grass. I hear America singing. I hear America singing, the varied carols I hear, those of mechanics, each one singing his as it should be, blithe and strong, the carpenter singing his as he measures his plank or beam, the mason singing his as he makes ready for work or leaves off work, the boatman singing what belongs to him in his boat, the deckhand singing on the steamboat deck, the shoemaker singing as he sits on his bench, the hatter singing as he stands, the woodcutter's song, the plowboy's on his way in the morning or at noon intermission or at sundown, the delicious singing of the mother or of the young wife at work or of the girl sewing or washing, each singing what belongs to him or her and to none else. The day what belongs to the day. At night, the party of young fellows, robust, friendly, singing with open mouths their strong, melodious songs. When I read the book, the biography famous, and is this then, said I, what the author calls a man's life? And so will someone, when I am dead and gone, write my life? As if any man really knew aught of my life. Why, even I myself, I often think, know little or nothing of my real life. Only a few hints. A few diffused, faint clues and indirections I seek for my own use to trace out here. Houses and rooms are full of perfumes. The shelves are crowded with perfumes. I breathe the fragrance myself and know it and like it. The distillation would intoxicate me also, but I shall not let it. The atmosphere is not a perfume. It has no taste of the distillation. It is odorless. It is for my mouth forever. I am in love with it. I will go to the bank by the wood and become undisguised and naked. I am mad for it to be in contact with me. The smoke of my own breath, echoes, ripples, buzzed whispers, love root, silk thread, crotch and vine, my respiration and inspiration, the beating of my heart, the passing of blood and air through my lungs, the sniff of green leaves and dry leaves, and of the shore and dark-colored sea rocks, and of hay in the barn, the sound of the belched words of my voice loosed to the eddies of the wind, a few light kisses, a few embraces, a reaching around of arms, the play of shine and shade on the trees as the supple boughs wag, the delight alone or in the rush of the streets or along the fields and hillsides, the feeling of health, the full noon trill, the song of me rising from bed and meeting the sun. Have you reckoned 1,000 acres much? Have you reckoned the earth much? Have you practiced so long to learn to read? Have you felt so proud to get at the meaning of poems? Stop this day and night with me, and you shall possess the origin of all poems. You shall possess the good of the earth and sun. There are millions of suns left. You shall no longer take things at second or third hand, nor look through the eyes of the dead, nor feed on the specters in books. You shall not look through my eyes either, nor take things from me. You shall listen to all sides and filter them from yourself. You see, I resign myself to you also. I guess what you mean. I behold from the beach your crooked, inviting fingers. I believe you refuse to go back without feeling of me. You must have a turn together. I undress, hurry me out of the sight of the land, cushion me soft, rock me in billowy drowse, dash me with amorous wet. I can repay you. Sea of stretched ground swells, sea of breathing broad and convulsive breaths, sea of the brine of life and of unshoveled yet always ready graves, howler and scooper of storms, capricious and dainty sea, I am integral with you. I too am of one phase and of all phases, partaker of influx and efflux I, extoller of hate and conciliation, extoller of Amy's and those that sleep in each other's arms. I am he attesting sympathy. Shall I make my list of things in the house and skip the house that supports them? I am not the poet of goodness only. I do not decline to be the poet of wickedness also. What blurt is this about virtue and about vice? Evil propels me, and reform of evil propels me. I stand indifferent. My gait is no fault-finder's or rejecter's gait. I moisten the roots of all that has grown. Did you fear some scrofula out of the unflagging pregnancy? Did you guess the celestial laws are yet to be worked over and rectified? I find one side a balance and the antipodal side a balance, soft doctrine as steady help as stable doctrine. Thoughts and deeds of the present are rouse an early start. This minute that comes to me over the past decillions, there is no better than it and now. What behaved well in the past or behaves well today is not such a wonder. The wonder is always and always how there can be a mean man or an infidel. Far hence amid an isle of wondrous beauty, crouching over a grave, an ancient sorrowful mother, once a queen, now lean and tattered, seated on the ground, her old white hair drooping disheveled round her shoulders, at her feet fallen an unusual royal harp, long silent, she too long silent, mourning her shrouded hope and air. Of all the earth, her heart most full of sorrow because most full of love. Yet a word, ancient mother. You need not crouch there longer on the cold ground with forehead between your knees. Oh, you need not sit there, veiled in your old white hair, so disheveled, for now you know the one you mourn is not in that grave. It was an illusion. The son you love was not really dead. The Lord is not dead. He is risen again, young and strong in another country. Even while you wept there by your fallen harp, by your grave, what you wept for was translated, passed from the grave. The winds favored and the sea sailed it, and now with rosy and new blood, moves today in a new country. Oh, Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rack. The prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But oh heart, 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 oh the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. Oh Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills, for you bouquets and ribboned wreaths, for you the shores are crowding, for you they call, the swaying mass, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear Father, this arm beneath your head, it is some dream that on the deck you've fallen cold and dead. My Captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip the victor's ship comes in with object won. Exult, O shores, and ring, O bells, but I with mournful tread walk the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. When lilacs last in the dooryard bloomed, and the great star early drooped in the western sky in the night, I mourned, and yet shall mourn with ever-returning spring. Ever-returning spring, Trinity sure to me you bring, lilac blooming perennial and drooping star in the west, and thought of him I love. O powerful western fallen star, O shades of night, O moody tearful night, O great star disappeared, O the black murk that hides the star, O cruel hands that hold me powerless, O helpless soul of me, O harsh surrounding cloud that will not free my soul. In the dooryard fronting an old farmhouse, near the whitewashed palings, stands the lilac bush tall growing, with heart-shaped leaves of rich green, with many a pointed blossom rising delicate, with the perfume strong I love, with every leaf a miracle, and from this bush in the dooryard, with delicate colored blossoms and heart-shaped leaves of rich green, a sprig with its flower I break. In the swamp, in secluded recesses, a shy and hidden bird is warbling a song. Solitary the thrush, the hermit withdrawn to himself, avoiding the settlements, sings by himself a song. Song of the bleeding throat, death's outlet, song of life. For well, dear brother, I know, if thou wast not granted to sing, thou wouldst surely die. Over the breast of the spring, the land, amid cities, amid lanes and through old woods, where lately the violets peeped from the ground, spotting the gray debris amid the grass in the fields each side of the lanes, passing the endless grass, passing the yellow-speared wheat, every grain from its shroud in the dark brown fields uprisen, passing the apple tree, billows of white and pink in the orchards, carrying a corpse to where it shall rest in the grave. Night and day journeys a coffin, coffin that passes through lanes and streets, through day and night, with the great cloud darkening the land, with the pomp of the in-looped flags, with the cities draped in black, with the show of the states themselves as of crape-veiled women standing, with processions long and winding, and the flambeaux of the night, with the countless torches lit, with the silent sea of faces and the unbared heads, with the waiting depot, the arriving coffin and the somber faces, with dirges through the night, with the thousand voices rising, strong and solemn, with all the mournful voices of the dirges poured around the coffin, the dim-lit churches and the shuddering organs, where amid these you journey, with the tolling bells' perpetual clang. Here, coffin that slowly passes, I give you my sprig of lilac. Long, too long, America, traveling roads all even and peaceful, you learned from joys and prosperity only. But now, now, to learn from crises of anguish, advancing, grappling with direst fate and recoiling not, and now to conceive and show to the world what your children en masse really are. For who except myself has yet received what your children en masse really are? A sight in camp in the daybreak, gray and dim, as from my tent I emerge, so early sleepless, as slow I walk in the cool, fresh air, the path nearby the hospital tent. 3 forms I see on stretchers lying, brought out there, untended, lying. Over each the blanket spread, ample brownish woolen blanket, gray and heavy blanket, folding, covering all. Curious I halt and silent stand, then with light fingers I from the face of the nearest, the first, just lift the blanket. Who are you, you elderly man, so gaunt and grim, with well-grayed hair and flesh all sunken about the eyes? Who are you, my dear comrade? Then to the second I step. And who are you, my child and darling? Who are you, sweet boy, with cheeks yet blooming? Then to the third, a face nor child nor old, very calm as of beautiful yellow-white ivory. Young man, I think I know you. I think this face is the face of the Christ himself, dead and divine and brother of all, and here again he lies. O me, O life, of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, of myself forever reproaching myself, for who more foolish than I, and who more faithless? of eyes that vainly crave the light, of the objects mean, of the struggle ever renewed, of the poor results of all, of the plodding and sordid crowds I see around me, of the empty and useless years of the rest, with the rest me intertwined. The question, O me, so sad, recurring, what good amid these, O me, O life? Answer, that you are here, that life exists, and identity, that life exists, and identity, that the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. You've been listening to Ode to a Mockingbird, a sleep podcast. I'm your host, Jake Phillips, and it's been a real privilege to be able to spend some time with you. Please do subscribe, leave a review, and tell a friend if you're willing and able. And I look forward to meeting up with you again real soon. Until next time.